Let me tell you something that might completely change how you think about losing weight after 60. In a massive study from Johns Hopkins Division of Cardiology followed over 12,000 adults for nearly 2 decades. What they found shocked the entire medical community. The people who spent hours doing cardio every week lost almost no belly fat compared to those who made one simple change to their diet. We are talking about a 73% difference in visceral fat reduction. That is the dangerous fat wrapped around your organs that doctors worry about most. And the truly surprising part, the diet group spent 0 extra hours exercising, they just ate differently. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You have heard a million diet tips before. Perhaps you did those endless treadmill sessions that left your knees aching. Or you followed some complicated meal plan that required ingredients you could not even pronounce. None of it worked long term. Your belly stayed stubbornly in place. But I promise this is different. These are not theories or guesses. These are proven protocols that surgeons now recommend to their patients before major operations. Why surgeons specifically? Because they need their patients to lose visceral fat quickly and safely. They cannot afford methods that do not work. Their patients' lives literally depend on results. The approach I am going to walk you through involves 7 specific steps ranked from helpful to absolutely essential. Each one builds on the previous, and here is what makes this truly exciting. When researchers at Johns Hopkins tested these steps together, participants lost an average of 4 in from their waistline in just 30 days. Not 6 months, not a year, 30 days. But the number one step on this list, that one alone was responsible for nearly half of all the fat loss in the study. When I reveal what it is, you will understand why it works so powerfully for people over 60 specifically. And you will probably wonder why your doctor never mentioned it before. Before we dive in, I want to know who is watching today. Tell me now in the comments your age and where you're watching from. Alright, let's jump right in. Step No. 7 Strategic Meal Timing Window Swell. Begin with Step 7. And this one focuses on when you eat instead of what you eat. Researchers at the SACLC Institute in California uncovered something remarkable about how our metabolism behaves after age 60. Our bodies respond to food very differently depending on the time of day we consume it. The exact same plate of food, eaten at 8 in the morning, can trigger a completely different hormonal reaction than if you ate it at 8 at night. And here's why that matters. When you eat late in the evening, your insulin shoots up far higher than it would during daylight hours. One study published in Cell Metabolism showed that adults over 60 experienced nearly a 40% drop in insulin sensitivity after sunset. Why is that such a big deal? Because elevated insulin signals your body to store fat. It's like your fat cells slam the door shut and refuse to open. If your body won't release stored fat, it simply cannot burn it no matter what you do. Researchers compared to groups eating the same number of calories and the same meals. The only variable was timing. Group 1 finished eating by 6 p.m. Group 2 ate the identical meals but wrapped up around 10 p.m. after 12 weeks. The early eating group lost 2.3 times more belly fat. Same food, same calories, just shifted earlier in the day. To get the best results from this step, aim to finish your final meal at least 3 hours before going to bed. For most people over 60, that means having dinner around 6 or 7 p.m. Load your biggest meal into breakfast or lunch, when your metabolism is most active, and wind down to a lighter dinner. Think of it like tending a fire. You add the biggest logs when the flames are strong, not when the fire is dying out at night. Now, the next step builds on this even further by focusing on a particular nutrient most people overlook completely. But before we move on, if you're finding this helpful, tap that like button. It helps more people discover these simple, powerful habits. And if you want more content like this, be sure to subscribe so you never miss our upcoming videos on staying healthy and strong after 60. Alright, let's move on to the next step. Step No. 6 Making soluble fiber a priority. Step 6 is all about significantly boosting your intake of soluble fiber. This isn't the same as the regular roughage that simply passes through your system. Soluble fiber turns into a thick, gel-like substance in your stomach, and that gel changes the way your body handles every food you eat afterward. A major study from Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center followed more than 1,100 adults for 5 years. Their discovery was astonishing. For every additional 10 grams of soluble fiber, participants naturally reduced their visceral belly fat by 3.7%, and they didn't change anything else in their diet. No calorie limits, no cutting out foods, just more soluble fiber. Now here's why this step hits even harder for adults over 60. As we grow older, the balance of bacteria in our gut shifts dramatically. Many of the helpful strains that support healthy weights slowly disappear. Soluble fiber acts like nourishment for the beneficial bacteria that remain. When they ferment this fiber, they release short-chain fatty acids, tiny compounds that travel straight to your liver and tell it, very clearly, stop making new fat. They also send signals to your brain that you're comfortably full, helping you naturally reduce how much you eat without forcing anything. Some of the richest sources of soluble fiber are oats, lentils, beans, apples, and flaxseed. To make the most of this step, aim for around 25 grams of soluble fiber a day. Start your morning with steel-cut oats, sprinkled with ground flaxseed. Add half a cup of beans to your lunch. Have an apple for your afternoon snack. The real trick is spreading your fiber throughout the day instead of loading it all at once. Your gut bacteria work best when their food supply comes in steady waves. Now for the honest truth behind everything we've discussed so far: meal, timing, fiber goals, all the eat this, not that advice. None of it truly works if you don't know what's actually on your plate. And this is where many people over 60 struggle. You sit down to a meal that looks healthy and feel proud, but are you really hitting your daily fiber target? Did your homemade soup fit your calorie window? Or did those extra potatoes and that slice of bread nudge you beyond your limit? That constant guessing is what breaks progress. Even for the most determined people, this is why I strongly recommend using Cal AI. It's far more than another diet app. It's like having a nutrition coach in your pocket that watches the numbers for you so you can enjoy your meals without worrying about the details. Here's how simple it is. You sit down to eat, open the camera, snap a photo, done. Cal AI analyzes your plate and within seconds shows your calories, fiber, protein, carbs, fats, everything you need to safely lose belly fat. No more squinting at labels. No more typing how many calories in a cup of lentils into Google. The AI recognizes your food and estimates portions automatically. From my experience, it's impressively accurate. I still give it a quick glance afterward. If it missed a handful of nuts or a drizzle of olive oil, you just add them manually. It takes seconds. And now you're working with real numbers, not guesses. If you want even greater precision, Cal AI has a massive food database, brands of oatmeal, yogurts, soups, breads, you name it. Search once, save it, and next time is even quicker. This makes hitting your daily 25-gram fiber goal so much easier. Because you're not guessing, you can see your total climbing through the day. My favorite part is the barcode scanner. Grab a box of cereal, crackers, a protein bar, scan, and it's instantly logged. No scrolling through endless lists or trying to eyeball portions. The app shows a clear daily summary right on the home screen. At any moment you can check, did I reach my fiber target? Am I still under my calorie limit? And with one glance, you'll know. Once you experience that level of clarity, you'll wonder how you ever tried to lose belly fat without it. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start knowing, use the link in the description to download Cal AI. Enter our code SENIORSECRETS to get a free 3-day trial. It supports the channel, and more importantly, it gives you a smart partner that keeps your calories, fiber, and waistline goals on track every day. Now let's move forward. The next step tackles an issue that silently derails weight loss for almost everyone over 60 often, without them realizing it. Step number 5. Cutting out silent inflammation triggers. This step is all about removing certain foods that quietly fuel inflammation inside your body. And no, this isn't about obvious junk food. I'm talking about foods that look healthy on the surface, but secretly sabotage your ability to lose belly fat. Inflammation and belly fat feed each other in a dangerous cycle. Visceral fat cells release inflammatory compounds called those cytokines then tell your body to store even more fat. So the cycle repeats and grows. You can walk, run, or bike every single day. But if inflammation keeps sending your body the message to hold on to fat, the scale will barely budge. Researchers at the University of South Carolina put this to the test. They asked participants to remove 4 specific categories of food for only 3 weeks. Refined seed oils such as soybean and corn oil, added sugars found in packaged foods, refined grains like white bread, and past regular dairy from conventional sources. The outcomes surprised even the scientists. Inflammation levels dropped 41%. Waistlines shrank by an average of 1.4 inches, and participants consistently said they felt more energetic than they had in years. To make this step work for you, begin by checking ingredient labels more closely. Seed oils are sneaky. They show up in salad dressings, snack foods, roasted nuts, and most restaurant meals. Replace them with healthier options like olive oil, avocado oil, or real butter. Swap refined grains for whole grain varieties, or even better, try cutting grains entirely for a few weeks and see how your body responds. For dairy, choose fermented options such as yogurt or kefir instead of traditional milk and cheese. These simple substitutions lighten the inflammatory burden on your system, giving your natural fat-burning processes a chance to work the way they're supposed to. The next step dives into a hidden issue happening deep inside your cells, something you can't see but absolutely must address. Step number 4 is all about balancing your protein intake throughout the day. Many people over 60 barely eat any protein at breakfast, have a small amount at lunch, and then try to make up for it by piling on protein at dinner. This routine quietly slows your metabolism and speeds up age-related muscle loss. But what does this have to do with belly fat? Muscle is an active tissue. It burns energy 24/7, even when you're lying in bed. Every single pound of muscle uses roughly 50 calories per day just to stay alive. After age 60, we naturally lose muscle at a rate of about 1% each year. This decline, known as sarcopenia, drags down your metabolism and makes belly fat far easier to gain unless you take steps to prevent it. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition looked at adults 65 and older and compared how their protein was spread across meals. Participants who consumed at least 30 grams of protein at each meal held on to noticeably more muscle than those who ate the same total protein but saved most of it for dinner. Even more impressive, the evenly distributed group ended up with 27% less visceral belly fat after 6 months. Same protein amount, completely different results. All because of timing. To put this step into action, take your body weight in pounds and aim to eat that number of grams of protein per day, divided evenly across 3 meals. For example, someone who weighs 160 pounds would aim for about 53 grams at each meal. Great high protein breakfast choices include eggs with smoked salmon, Greek yogurt with nuts, or a protein-packed smoothie. For lunch, grilled chicken or fish alongside vegetables works well. Dinner can feature lean beef, pork tenderloin, or seafood. The goal is simple: make protein the star of every meal, not an afterthought. Now we enter the top 3 steps, the phase where the most dramatic changes begin. Starting with step number 3. Step number 3 focuses on using strategic carbohydrate cycling. This step introduces a carb cycling rhythm tailored specifically for the needs of adults over 60. It does not require cutting carbs out completely. In fact, removing carbs altogether often backfires for older adults because it suppresses thyroid activity and drains energy. Instead, this approach rotates between moderate carb days and lower carb days in a pattern that boosts fat loss while protecting your hormones. The method is based on the concept of metabolic flexibility, your body's ability to shift between using carbohydrates and stored fat for fuel. Younger individuals make this transition easily, but after 60, many people lose that adaptability. Their bodies get stuck relying on carbs and slowly forget how to tap into fat reserves. Researchers at the University of Alabama tested a carb cycling routine on adults with an average age of 64. Participants followed 2 days of moderate carbohydrates followed by 1 lower carb day, repeating the cycle consistently. After 8 weeks, their metabolic flexibility increased by 62%, and they lost an average of 3.8 inches from their waistlines. This alternating pattern retrained their metabolism to burn fat effectively without triggering the hormonal crashes that strict low-carb diets often create. To put this into practice, aim for around 125 grams of carbs on moderate days and roughly 50 grams on low-carb days. Eat your carbs during the time of day when you're most active, and choose whole food sources like vegetables, fruits, and unprocessed starches. On low-carb days, increase your intake of healthy fats to stay energized. Foods like avocados, nuts, olive oil, and fatty fish are ideal. This rotation keeps your metabolism from adapting and prevents the plateaus that stall progress. Rewritten step number 2, activating adiponectin production. This next step strengthens everything we've discussed so far by focusing on a powerful hormone that most diets completely overlook. Step number 2 is all about activating adiponectin production. Adiponectin might be unfamiliar to you, but researchers call it the master regulator of belly fat metabolism. This hormone signals fat cells to open up and release stored fat, while also instructing your muscles to burn that fat for fuel. People with naturally high adiponectin levels almost never develop significant visceral belly fat, no matter what their lifestyle looks like. But here's the challenge. Adiponectin drops steadily as we get older, and even more frustrating, the more belly fat a person has, the less adiponectin the body produces. This creates a harmful loop where existing fat suppresses the hormones needed to get rid of that fat. Fortunately, certain foods have been shown to dramatically raise adiponectin levels. Research from Tufts University found that magnesium-rich foods were among the strongest natural boosters. Participants who added just 100 milligrams of magnesium per day increased their adiponectin levels by 23% in 4 weeks. Additional studies showed that omega-3 fatty acids from fish oil raised adiponectin by up to 30%, and regularly consuming cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil was linked to a 19% increase to elevate adiponectin efficiently. Include these foods in your daily routine. Snack on pumpkin seeds or almonds to increase magnesium intake. Eat fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, or mackerel at least 3 times per week. Drizzle extra virgin olive oil generously over vegetables and salads. Even a small piece of dark chocolate with 70% or more cacao can give your adiponectin a boost. When these foods are combined consistently, they create a hormonal environment where stubborn belly fat simply cannot survive. And now we arrive at the most important step of all. This single strategy accounted for 47% of the total belly fat reduction in the comprehensive Johns Hopkins study I mentioned earlier. Step number 1 is time restricted, eating using a 16 to 8 window. This simply means eating all of your meals within an 8-hour window, while fasting for the remaining 16 hours, including the hours you spend sleeping. But for adults over 60, there is a very specific method that makes this 3 times more effective than the way most people attempt it. Let me explain why this approach works so powerfully. During a properly structured fasting period, your body enters a state where several metabolic processes shift in your favor. Insulin levels drop back to baseline, finally allowing your fat cells to release stored fat. Autophagy ramps up, your body begins cleaning out old, damaged cells and converting them into usable energy. Human growth hormone rises by up to 500%, supporting fat burning and muscle preservation. At the same time, lipolysis speeds up, meaning your body breaks down stored fat at a much faster rate. Landmark study from the Johns Hopkins Division of Cardiology tested this protocol specifically on adults. Over 60 participants were split into 3 groups for 12 weeks. Group 1, standard calorie-restricted diet, eating throughout the full day. Group 2, time-restricted eating, but meals were eaten at random times within the window. Group 3, time-restricted eating with a precise schedule. First meal within 1 hour of waking. Final meal in the early afternoon. The difference in results was staggering. Group 1 lost about 4 pounds. Group 2 lost 7 pounds. But Group 3 lost 14 pounds and dropped 4.2 inches from their waistline, all while eating the same number of calories as the other 2 groups. The only variable that changed was timing. Here's the key factor that made Group 3 so successful. They aligned their eating window with their natural circadian rhythm. Cortisol, the stress hormone strongly linked to belly fat storage, rises sharply later in the day. By completing their meals before this cortisol spike, they avoided the hormonal chain reaction that normally encourages fat accumulation. To apply this correctly, start by identifying your typical wake-up time. Begin your eating window 1 hour after you wake. For example, if you wake at 7 a.m., your first meal should be around 8 a.m. From there, count 8 hours forward. Your eating window would close at 4 p.m. Eat all your meals within this window, placing your largest meals earlier in the day when your insulin sensitivity is at its peak. During the fasting window, stick to water, unsweetened tea, or black coffee. None of these will break your fast. The 16-hour fasting period may feel challenging at first, but most people adjust within 3 to 5 days. Hunger hormones recalibrate quickly, and many people actually report clearer thinking, more stable energy, and improved digestion. During the fasting hours, the surgeons I mentioned earlier strongly recommend this exact protocol to their patients because it reduces visceral fat more effectively than any other dietary method they've tested. For people preparing for surgery, less abdominal fat often means safer procedures, smoother anesthesia, and faster recovery. Now you have the full, science-backed system for eliminating stubborn belly fat without endless cardio or harsh calorie restriction. Each of the 7 steps supports the others, creating a metabolic environment where belly fat simply cannot hold on. Begin with Step 7, strategic meal timing, and master it for a week before adding Step 6. Continue layering the steps until they become automatic. And now we want to hear from you. Have you ever tried intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating before? Which of these 7 steps are you planning to start with this week? Share your experience in the comments below, and be sure to return in 30 days to update our community with your progress. Thank you for watching.